Market women returned to their shops to find their goods missing: yams, palm oil, even their hard-earned money. At first, they suspected thieves, but the marks left behind, a strange handprint, sent shocks through the village. Ekene, now fully under the spirit's control, prowled the village at night. The spirit, using his body, fed on chaos and fear, stealing goods and harming livestock. One night, Neka found him standing in their yard, rough-handling a struggling chicken. Its neck broke while Ekene was squeezing the life out of it. "Ekene," she cried. But the boy did not answer. Ekene, the son of a popular and powerful hunter in the quiet Nigerian village of Amagu, was the pride of his family. At just 14 years of age, he had mastered the art of hunting, providing food for his widowed mother, Neka, and earning respect among the elders. But Ekene had one flaw: his curiosity was insatiable. He wanted to know everything. The Ahwahnee forest, dark and forbidden, loomed on the outskirts of the village. It was a place of danger, warnings, and cursed by the gods, the elders said. Ekene's friends, Obinna and Kelechi, often dared each other to enter, but none ever did. One morning, Ekene decided to venture into Ahwahnee to hunt. "The elders tell these stories to scare us," Obinna warned him, but Ekene only laughed. The forest was deeply silent as he moved deeper, its shadow swallowing him whole. Then, he saw it, a tree unlike any other. Its trunk shinned faintly, and golden fruits hung from its branches. Ekene, driven by hunger and curiosity, plucked one and bit into it. The sweetness turned to bitterness, and he choked, dropping the fruit. A strange wind covered him, and a deep voice echoed, "You dare eat what belongs to me. Now, I own you." Ekene collapsed, in pains as dark energy consumed him. When he awoke, his eyes were faintly red, and his heart beat to a rhythm that wasn't his own. Ekene returned to Mwagu, but he was not the same. His mother noticed it first. His smile was gone, replaced by a cold and hard face. At night, he spoke strange words in his sleep, and his once lively spirit vanished. The first unpleasant incident happened days later. Market women returned to their shops to find their goods missing: yams, palm oil, even their hard-earned money. At first, they suspected thieves, but the marks left behind, a strange handprint, sent shocks through the village. Ekene, now fully under the spirit's control, prowled the village at night. The spirit, using his body, fed on chaos and fear, stealing goods and harming livestock. One night, Neka found him standing in their yard, rough-handling a struggling chicken. Its neck broke while Ekene was squeezing the life out of it. "Ekene," she cried. But the boy did not answer. The villagers grew worried, sensing that something unnatural was happening. Panic gripped Mwagu when Adana, a 6-year-old girl, vanished from her mother's hut. Her mother, Ifeoma, wailed through the night as villagers gathered the area, searching desperately. The next morning, a hunter found small footprints leading to the edge of Ahwahnee. Beside them was a familiar handprint and another strange symbol carved into the ground. The elders convened a meeting. "This is no ordinary thief," Elder Nwosu declared. "The spirit of Ahwahnee has returned. It possesses someone among us." The revelation sent shockwaves through the village. But who could it be? The village priest, Deba Abedioha, was summoned. He arrived dressed in flowing white robes, holding a staff covered with feathers and cowries. After examining the clawed handprints and symbols, he confirmed the elders' fears. "This is the work of Ekutulu," he said. "The spirit of the forbidden forest. It possesses the innocent, growing stronger with every soul it takes. If we do not stop it, it will consume the village." Deba Abedioha performed cleansing rituals, sprinkling holy water around the village and chanting incantations to ward off the spirit. But Ekutulu's wrath only grew stronger. That night, the spirit possessed Ekene fully, transforming his body into a monstrous figure with glowing eyes, sharp claws, and a roar that shook the village. Under the spirit's control, Ekutulu unleashed chaos. He broke into homes, stole food and valuables, and abducted more children. Mothers held their babies close, and fathers stood guard through the night, armed with machetes. But Ekutulu was unstoppable. One night, he raided the blacksmith's shop, destroying tools and leaving claw marks on the walls. Another time, he attacked a goat farm, killing every animal inside. The villagers tried everything, setting traps, forming watch groups, but Ekutulu was always one step ahead. His inhuman speed and strength made him untouchable. Desperation was all over Umwagu like a heavy poison. Night after night, Ekutulu's haunting roars echoed through the village, followed by the devastating disappearance of livestock and, worst of all, children. Elder Nwosu's revelation about the virgin sacrifice sent shockwaves through the community. "This spirit is bound to the curse of the forbidden tree," he told the villagers solemnly. "To send it back, we must return what was taken, a sacred offering. But the gods demand it be delivered by a pure soul, a virgin child." The crowd erupted in protests. Mothers clutched their daughters protectively, fathers shook their heads in defiance, and the village grew tense with fear. "How can we send a child to their death?" one woman cried, her voice cracking. "The gods demand justice," Elder Nwosu replied. "But the choice is ours." In the midst of the chaos, Ekutulu's reign of terror worsened. That night, the spirit attacked the marketplace, destroying stalls, scattering goods, and leaving behind claw marks on walls. The villagers awoke to screams. 3 babies had been taken from their cribs. The village square filled with weeping parents and helpless elders. They prayed to the gods, but the heavens remained silent. Elder Nwosu ordered the priests to perform cleansing rituals, but every effort failed. The village priests gathered at the shrine, burning herbs and chanting prayers meant to purify the land. They poured libations of palm wine and slaughtered a ram as an offering to appease the gods. A crowd of villagers watched anxiously, hoping for a miracle. As the priests' chants grew louder, the air in the square shifted, growing colder. Suddenly, a gust of wind extinguished the fires. The ram's blood, meant to soak into the ground, folded and turned black. A strong sound echoed from the forest, silencing the chants. The priests fell to their knees, trembling. Elder Nwosu stood, his face pale. "The spirit is too powerful," he said in a crying voice. "Our rituals are no match for it." That night, Ekutulu stormed the village once more, this time stealing a bag of yams from the store and leaving bloody handprints on the walls of the shrine. Panic spread like wildfire. The villagers were losing hope when a strange event occurred. 5-year-old Chika, a quiet girl known for her vivid dreams, woke up screaming in the middle of the night. Her parents rushed to her side, only to find her speaking in a voice that wasn't hers. "They have taken my fruit," she whispered. "I demand it back." Her parents, terrified, called for Elder Nwosu. When the elder arrived, Chika's voice had changed again. "Return the offering to the forbidden tree," she said, her tone laced with authority. "Only then will peace return to your village." The elders gathered the next morning to discuss the revelation. Nwosu believed the gods had spoken through Chika, offering the villagers a path to redemption. But the journey into Ahoani was fraught with danger, and no one dared volunteer. As the villagers debated, Ekutulu grew bolder. In broad daylight, he raided a yam barn, tearing through the wooden structure with monstrous strength. Villagers fled as the spirit, now appearing more beast than boy, roared and clawed at anything in his path. Ekutulu's appearance had changed drastically. His once human face was now twisted, his mouth filled with sharp teeth, and his eyes burned with a fiery glow. His body, though still resembling a boy, was covered in coarse hair, and his hands had transformed into claws. "Soon, he will come for all of us," Elder Nwosu warned. "We cannot delay any longer." Among the crowd gathered at the village square was 14-year-old Amara. Known for her bravery and kind heart, she stepped forward, her voice steady. "I will go." Her parents were surprised, and the crowd murmured in shock. Elder Nwosu approached her, his eyes searching hers. "Amara, do you understand what this sacrifice means?" he asked. "I do," Amara replied. "If my sacrifice can save our people, then I must go." Her parents tried to stop her, but Amara stood firm. "Ekutulu has already taken so much from us," she said. "If I can stop him, I will." Amara was taken to the shrine, where the priests performed rituals to bless and protect her. She was given a basket containing the sacred offerings, kola nuts, palm wine, and a carved figurine of the ancestors. Elder Nwosu taught her the chants she would need to recite when she reached the forbidden tree. The entire village gathered to see her off. Tears flowed freely, and prayers filled the air. Amara's parents embraced her tightly, their hearts heavy with fear and pride. "Be brave, my daughter," her mother whispered. "The gods are with you." The forest was alive with whispers as Amara entered, her basket held close to her chest. The trees seemed to shift and move, their branches stretching toward her like skeletal hands. The air grew colder with every step, and shadows danced around her, forming shapes that dissolved as quickly as they appeared. Amara recited the chants Elder Nwosu had taught her, her voice trembling but unwavering. She could feel the presence of the spirit watching her, its anger like a heavy weight pressing on her chest. As Amara walked deeper into the forest, she encountered a series of strange and terrifying moments. The first was a strange child who appeared before her, crying for help. "Please," the child begged, "I'm lost. Take me with you." Amara hesitated, but the chants Nwosu had taught her echoed in her mind. "Do not stray. Stay true to your path." She closed her eyes and walked past the unknown child. The child's cries turned into growls, and when Amara glanced back, the figure had transformed into a shadowy beast with glowing eyes. Deeper into the forest, Amara felt a chilling presence behind her. She turned to see Ekutulu, his monstrous form illuminated by the faint light filtering through the trees. "You think you can stop me?" he growled, his voice a mixture of Ekene's and something far darker. Amara clutched the basket tightly. "I am not afraid of you," she said, though her voice wavered. Ekutulu lunged at her, but a protective light from the basket repelled him. He roared in frustration, his claws raking the ground. "You cannot save them," he hissed before vanishing into the shadows. After what felt like hours, Amara finally reached the heart of the forest. The forbidden tree stood before her, its golden fruits glowing softly in the dim light. The air was thick with energy, and the ground trembled beneath her feet. Amara placed the basket at the base of the tree and knelt, reciting the sacred chants. The wind picked up, swirling around her as the ground shook violently. Ekutulu appeared one last time, his form shifting between boy and beast. "You cannot take this from me," he roared, charging at her. But Amara's voice rose above the chaos, steady and resolute. The tree glowed brighter, and a blinding light swallowed Ekutulu. As the blinding light from the forbidden tree illuminated the forest, Amara felt a surge of energy going through her veins. The ground beneath her quaked violently, and the air was heavy with the spirit's wrath. Ekutulu, still in his monstrous form, let out an agonized roar as the light engulfed him, forcing him to his knees. Amara continued chanting, her voice still strong despite the chaos. The sacred words filled the air, resonating with an ancient power that seemed to pull the spirit out of Ekutulu's body. His form was not stable, one moment a beast, the next a scared boy with pleading eyes. "Amara, help me," the boy's voice broke through the growls, and for a moment, she saw the real Ekene, trapped within the curse. Tears streamed down Amara's face. "Ekene, fight it. You're stronger than this," she cried. But the spirit was relentless. "You cannot save him," it roared, its voice echoing through the forest. "He belongs to me now." The tree's glow intensified, and Amara could feel its divine power strengthening her chants. She placed her hand on the basket and shouted the final verse of the chant, pouring every part of her courage into the words. The spirit let out one final, loud roar as it was ripped from Ekene's body, a swirling mass of shadows and anger. It was pulled toward the forbidden tree, which absorbed it in a flash of golden light. The forest grew very quiet. Ekene collapsed to the ground, his body limp but breathing. Amara knelt beside Ekene, gently shaking him. His eyes wide open, and for the first time in months, they were no longer glowing red. Instead, they were filled with confusion and fear. "Amara," he whispered, his voice weak. What happened?" "You're free now," she said softly, relief washing over her. As she helped him to his feet, the forest seemed to come alive with a newfound energy. The air was no longer heavy with dread, and the shadows that had once tormented her were gone. The forbidden tree stood tall and serene, its glow fading to a soft shimmer. But their journey wasn't over. They still had to make it back to the village, and the forest was very big and demonic.